Dan to Dan, episode 11, First Love. Does Okarun have some competition? Let's talk about it. All right, welcome back, Geek Variant. So we're talking about Dan to Dan, episode 11, and this one has the arrival of Gigi front and center, thanks to the last episode, him just happening to show up at the door. And, Granny ISA was just like, yeah, we're going to let him come stay with us because his parents aren't doing too good. But not telling nobody. So we just got to kind of wing it. So it's a surprise to everybody. He is introduced in the household. He is over the top and just especially charismatic throughout the process of being here. So as Momo basically tries to process the situation, you got Okarun kind of looking on like, what's going on? Who is this guy? This is her first love. This is what Granny's talking about. And you also have Aira, who's kind of like, you're trying to build an army. You're trying to take over. She's still on her kick. Like Momo's trying to take over the world. So she's stacking up her numbers. So it's great to see just the dynamic between everybody. But ultimately, Gigi is just, again, kind of smoothing his way right on in by sweet talking Granny and, all this other stuff. And she's just like, yeah, I'll feed you. I'll do this. I'll do that. You can stay here indefinitely as far as we know. But he is now the fourth member, or technically the fifth member if you count Granny, to the crew. Yeah. So basically, with Gigi's background, we find out his parents are hospitalized, and he's able to see ghosts. And the reason he's able to see ghosts is they end up going. They moved sometime when he was in, like, I guess, middle school, and they went to some house. And what ended up happening is some ghosts or spirits, but that he kept seeing stuff, and eventually it approached him in some manner, and somehow his parents got sick in the process. They hired like 5 medians to take, to go take this thing out and take care of it, but those 3 out of those 5 end up removing themselves from the picture, as opposed to being able to solve the problem. So because of all this, that kind of left Gigi in a weird spot of being able to see all this stuff and trying to put it out of his head, but he is unable to deal with it in any type of way. And that's just kind of where he's stuck. So Granny, of course, is recommended to be able to take care of this because she has had this experience with dealing with, all types of creatures. We've seen her, go to town with like that bat before, like she's on one. But here's the kicker. She can't use her powers anywhere outside of town, remember? Because everything's attached to the area that she's in. So guess what it's up to? Momo and crew. So what's going to end up happening is Momo and crew are going to probably have to set up to go deal with this. And the sweet part of the deal for Momo is you was looking for a way to buy uniforms. Guess what? You go take care of this problem, and I'll buy you uniforms for life. Which tells me that throughout the course of their adventures, they're probably going to be losing several uniforms, again, through damage or whatever the case may be, or other episodes, and they have to replace their stuff. So Green's willing to take care of all that if they go take care of this problem for her. Now, with that being said, Gigi ends up attending Momo's school. So he's enrolled in school, and immediately, he is charismatic beyond belief for everyone involved. That's what that. So all her friends, like, he is just sweet talking himself throughout the whole class, and everybody's just like swooning over him because he's like, hey, you're a hottie, you're this, you're that, like, and they're just eating it up. The only time where the line gets drawn is when he says, yeah, we're living together and we're lovers. And her friends are immediately like, no, she is off limits. That is Okarun's girl. Back off. And I appreciated that. I was like, freaking, they was kind of swooning and so that, but they went to bat for her quick. Like, nah, better leave Okarun's up, leave him alone, so that you ain't finna come in here and encroach on this. So I like the girls had his back, and Momo's back essentially. So we end up cutting over to Okarun since he was mentioned, and he's trying to work out and get himself together and keep his mind off of things, but he can't help but let his mind wander. And he's just like, is she not going to want to talk with me anymore or hang out with me anymore and talk about the occult and all this kind of stuff? Because this guy's in the picture, and you know, his fears were kind of put to rest for a hot second because she showed up to have lunch with him, and she's like, "Well, you're not gonna be able to eat lunch and work out. I can feed you while you work out." And I'm just like, "Oh, this is so sweet. That's awesome. She's gonna do this for him," and gonna kind of reestablish their connection. But then Gigi comes around the corner with something that looks like some kind of yogurt flavored Pocky or something. I don't know, but apparently it's like a very rare treat, and Momo hasn't seen this probably in some time. So when she saw it, she got excited and she walked up to him and he's just like, "Yeah, I got this." And then Okarun was like, "I really do." Like he said, "It's like, can I compete with this? Like you bringing all these fun things, all this stuff from her childhood." So yeah, he's looking like, "I'm over this." So while they're sitting there doing that, Okarun's like, "I'm gonna go over here and just continue to work out and call it a day." And what ended up happening is some weird looking skeleton. So it looked like one of those mannequins from the classroom that shows the body. So half of it's the human body, like a bald, human body, so like that, and then the other half of it is like the musculature of the body. So showing the different parts on the internal. So definitely like a school diagram on those dummies and stuff. This thing comes hauling, but around the corner, like straight hauling. And as it comes through, it pretty much runs over Okarun to get to where Momo and Gigi are. And Momo's like, "Nah, like I gotta stop this thing, whatever it is," and gets ready to use her spirit hands. And Gigi interrupts the process by tackling her, like, "I'm going to save you." And now it's the same situation that Okarun was in earlier, where now Gigi's on top of Momo, and he's looking like, well, granted, he knows the context though, but he's looking like, why? But she manages to grab and hang on and get dragged along while Gigi is hanging on to her. So they're both being dragged along, from the guy that's running. Okarun's got to get into his, turbo form and takes off. And now basically a whole chase ensues. So now it's a chase down. We got to stop this dude. He is, going around the corners left and right, and he is like not slowing down for anything. Basically, they're able to get hands on him. And even though Gigi tries to stop Okarun because he's like, "You're trying to kidnap her," so with that, she has to explain, like, "No, he's Okarun. He's on our side." What? Whatever. They finally end up trying to slow the dude down, and they end up kind of getting him broken into pieces. But his pieces are like falling, and they're reassembling on the ground as they're running. And he keeps going, and he's running to wherever he's running to. In that process, this entire chase process, we find out that it looks like he has the golden ball. We just see something shiny. You see the gold gleam. So, and that's what Momo says as he jumped over at one point, and she's like, That's it." So again, we didn't actually physically see it. We saw the gleam. She said she saw it. He's got one of the golden balls, so we got to chase after him. In the process of him, when he broke apart, she ended up grabbing a piece of him when he pulled himself back together at the bottom. Remember, this is one of those diagram dummies. So, like these dummies, you can take apart and show different layers of the body or different parts and stuff like that. She actually grabbed the heart section. She ended up grabbing this, and she was able to squeeze it and stuff like that and stop it in its tracks, slow it down, and basically get it to kind of sound off where it's at. So they're able to go and find it and proceed to talk to it and find out what's going on. Like, if you just give up the gold ball, we won't have any problems. You can go on about your business, I guess, or whatever. Turns out it was there to save its true love, or whatever the case would be. It looked like another mannequin dummy diagram thing was thrown out into the dump. And he's the newer model, and she's the older model, and she, makes that a point. But he's like, "I'm doing anything to save you and take care of you." She doesn't have any arms or legs. It's just the torso and the head. And he's just confessing his love and how he's there to save her, and he'll do whatever it takes. And that's just kind of where we leave off. Not much of cliffhanger so like that, especially because next week I believe is supposed to be the final episode. I think it's supposed to stop at 12 because again, this is the thing they've been doing 12 episodes, which I'm not happy about. I like the 24 episode format, but I also want to make sure that we respect the workers who have to get through all this stuff and get it done. They're on certain timetables or all this stuff. I do not want anybody overworked, so we just got to kind of see how it goes. But it is rumored right now that the second season of it is supposed to drop next year, but earlier than when this debuted. This debuted around October-ish sometime. So I think it's supposed to be in the summer. So we may get it back sooner rather than later. We'll see. So right now we got a kind of a standoff. What's going to happen with, this pretty much school biology dummy, or, what else is going to happen as far as the house. I think season 2, which is Gigi's problem, the house, and what's going on with the house and the parents being sick. I think that'll probably be addressed in season 2. I think this is where we're going to, finish off and kind of deal with this issue here with the mannequin and kind of going about our business. Again, solid episode for kind of showcasing. We've already had the love triangle showcase and so that. So introducing a fourth element into this is definitely going to cause a problem, because now you got the round robin where you got Aira who likes Okarun who likes Momo. We don't know where she's at, and then we have Gigi who looks like he's vying after Momo, but not fully. He's making comments and stuff like that, but we got to see where it's going to go with him. He's so over the top charismatic. I don't know if he's just kind of putting on a front or if he's actually interested in her. Because it was said that she had a crush on him. It was never said the other way around. He used to tease her and make fun of her. So I don't know. That's all I got for this one. Appreciate you guys. Thanks to you. And hopefully you hit that lovely subscribe button. Stay tuned to us for more content as we go, and we will cover more things as we go on. Again, we got Solo Leveling on the way, and we're probably going to check out this Lord of the Rings movie that drops tonight, along with Craven, which has not had the best reviews thus far, but it opens today, so we'll definitely see and talk about it. Till then, catch you guys in the next one.